Hi everyone, we're Austin and Tiffanie Taylor. We're both on staff here at Life.Church. I work on the Central Life Group's Life Missions team.
And I'm on the recruitment team, and we are so excited to get to share with you today a little bit about our journey of how to live and lead with financial margin.
So we're going to show you a quick picture right now. This is us at a dinner last year, and this was a really fun dinner for us. It's at our favorite restaurant. It's an Ethiopian place here in Oklahoma City, and we got to celebrate becoming debt-free. And for us, that looked like paying off $55,000 in debt from primarily my student loans from grad school, but also our 2 cars and a little bit of medical bills.
Yeah, side note, if you have not tried Ethiopian food, it's amazing.
True.
You should check it out. But we are, when we got to make that final payment, such a weight was lifted off of us. And really, it was just a great time for us to reflect on how God has moved throughout our story and throughout that journey. And it really allowed us to be more generous and to set us up for being able to step into generosity.
Yeah. Now, I know many of you hearing this, the first thing you're going to think is, that's awesome for you, but I have a financial mountain that's just too high to climb. And there's no way that I'm ever going to get to experience that. And I want to tell you that that was exactly what we thought when we first started on this. So to share a little bit more of our story with you, when Tiffanie and I first got married, at that point, I think we were working 4 jobs between the 2 of us. We were living as frugally as we could, but still, our expenses column on our budget was about $400 more than our income column was. Yeah. And I remember hearing about the opportunity to go through Financial Peace University. So we joined a life group here to go through that. And one of the first baby steps that they talk about is to save $1,000 for an emergency fund. And to be honest with you, at that point, I was thinking, yeah, that's going to take us about 500 years to do that. So if you're feeling right now like this is an impossible situation for you, please know there are so many people, us included, who felt that same way. And I'm here to tell you that if we can do it, you can too.
Yeah, absolutely. It was such a feat. It felt like such a feat, but God has been so faithful throughout that process. We talked about being able to be set up in generosity, but we stayed really consistent with being faithful to the tithe. That was a really important part of this journey for us. And then we made sacrifices. So sacrifices are going to look different for every people. Anytime we talk about this, we want to make that very clear that it's going to look different for every person. And so some of those for us, though, were things like we stuck to a budget. And when we went grocery shopping, we stuck to that budget, which you guys know can be hard at times. So we made sure that happened. We did things like making sure we cooked most of our meals at home rather than going out, because it was really easy to just rack up dollars by going out to eat. And so we did things like that. And then one significant sacrifice that we did decide to make was going to be selling our car. So we had a second car, and we used that money to pay off some of our loans as well. And that was significant and really annoying, but actually ended up being such a blessing to us to help us be able to pay off that debt.
Yeah. So we want to share with you a Bible verse that's really helped guide our financial life. And this is Proverbs 11:24 in the Message translation. And it says, "The world of the generous gets larger and larger, but the world of the stingy gets smaller and smaller." And I know all of us want to be more generous with what God's entrusted to us. So if this is your one, if this is the area that you would like to improve upon in your life, we have a few questions that we'd love to have you take a moment right now to consider. The first question is, how much financial stress are you currently experiencing in your life, in your marriage? The second question is, how much financial margin do you currently have? And the third question is, how generous would you like to be? And these are great questions to wrestle with, not just on a personal level, but if you're a married man, sit down with your spouse and have this discussion together. They're great things to process together.
Yeah, I think those questions are so good. They're ones that we have talked through often as we've gone throughout this journey. And, I think that those questions will really set you up well for some next steps that you may want to take. And so when it comes to thinking about those things, there are some things that you could consider. So we are big Dave Ramsey fans. I think that's clear. So going through Financial Peace University or checking out Ramsey Plus, which is an awesome resource and it's got a lot of great tools on that. It could be you create a budget and you meet with a mentor and they're going to keep you accountable to that. Or it could be you are seeking God for opportunities to be more generous. So I love the idea of someone having like a generosity budget. I've heard that before, and they sporadically go and bless people throughout the month. I think that's so cool. So praying and asking God what those opportunities are for you is going to be a really great next step.
Yeah. Whatever your next step is, there are 2 things that we want you to know. The first is, no matter what, your value and your worth come from Christ alone and not from your bank account. The second is that our entire team here is praying for you. We are cheering you on. We can't wait to see what God's going to do through you as you live and lead with financial margin.